someone talked about the Men in Black phenomena that people talk about, and my little bit of experience with this. Okay, so in somewhere like 1999, I went out to Oregon and to escape the harassment that was taking place by the ruling class powers. That's really who it is: a communist, capitalist ruling class, religiously profane people, and they were antagonizing me. And it was not a small group of people. It was, the churchgoers of all these different kinds of churches. They would accost me on the streets and just like, "You're a heretic. You're a terrible person." But they wouldn't want to have a conversation. So those slimy kind of people, it's not a shortage of them. That's the majority of people. It's almost the absolution of people too. There's almost no other kind of people in our modern day. That's the days of Noah, by the way. But anyway, this is what happened. I went out to Oregon just without saying anything to anybody. So they kind of like quit my job, left everything, took whatever I had, and did a little bit I wanted to keep, and just boogied out there on a Greyhound. And someone was like tracking me already, what I'm saying? So like I saw him in Nebraska and Ohio, the same guy. He wasn't on the bus, but he was in the place where I was, where the bus was stopping, and he was just trying to disguise himself. So like that, I run into this guy twice, and he's trying to disguise himself. It was kind of shady. But then I got up to Oregon. I just hopped off the bus in the middle of the woods, which they didn't want me to do, but they really couldn't stop me. He stopped, and I'm like, I'm out. And this is the deepest, point that the bus was going to travel through in the woods, and I just boogied out into the woods without really a proper supply. I didn't really have any supplies. I had like a 100-pound backpack, and I didn't have any food or anything. And I was out there for like several months, but I was actually being tracked at that moment. This is 1999, and like it could have been because the bus guy made a report. He's like, "Oh, this guy just jumped off the, in the middle of the woods, whatever." That's probably not the case, but it might have been the case. I don't know what the protocols are to every person in every station, but anyway, there was some kooky things going on up there. I mean, just for one, when I got off the bus, I'm in the woods and the plane was going by, and I was like kind of like hiding from it, and it was like it kept passing by, and it's like a fourth or fifth flyover. I pop out from underneath the log I was hiding under, and then he flew right overhead. So I'm like, yeah, that guy was using flare technology. And how I knew the flare technology, that's another topic for discussion, but it was before that technology was revealed to the common people, as far as I understand. But anyway, I was up there for several months, and then I got in touch with my father, and I was going to come back to New Jersey to have some discussion with him, which I did. And when I came back to New Jersey, I'm going out into the woods. Like he had a property bordering this forest, and so I go out to this woods to play my flute, just to, bug around. I'm waiting for my father to give me some money to restitute some things that had happened in my childhood. Like I had my nose was broken pretty good by my brother. He did it, and it never treated right. It was really, really askew. And it was like I was 13, 14 when it happened, but I was innocent in the engagement. But why my father didn't take me to a doctor, have it straightened out, it was, foul. And here I was like in my 20s or something. I'm like, yeah, fix that. And, I don't, you owe that to me. If that was another person's child, you would have been sued. You would have been in trouble for that. And that's something you need to make a restitution for. Because this was already like several years after that had happened. And I was financially like, I was being harassed by the people even at that time, because like that initiated from me saying there's a uniparty that's esoteric in nature, and they're just deceiving the people. They're just raising taxes and they're lying to us. And essentially I'm like, it's Masons and others, and really all the local churches are equally as corrupt as that. But that upset the ruling class, and that's why they were harassing me. And even generically, being a civil citizen, you're being shit-bombed economically, because they have their esoteric agenda. That's what we see in the politics, that all their DEI and all this. That's Satanism. That's what it is. It's about treating people as property, not having any human values. That's really what it is. But back to the Men in Black. So I'm out going on these woods, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I hear something on the other side of the river. Because to get to the spot where I'm at, I'm like a little fireplace. I was gonna have a little campfire and play my flute. And so I go down to the trail that hits the river, and I make a left. And on the other side of the river, it's a small river, the Hackensack River. It's only like 20 feet wide. It's a small little cute river. I hear something stirring in the brush, and there's no trail over there, and I hear it strafing me. And so I'm like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's some kind of prowling cat. Who knows? But it's kind of odd. And I get to my camp spot, and like I said, there's no trail on the other side of the river, and it's a very treacherous passage through swamp and thorns, and you can't really make it to where I'm going as quickly as I did. But I get to where I'm at, and I hear some stirring on the other side of the river, and there's like this duck call. And I'm like, what is that? Is that a real duck? It doesn't sound like a real duck. And I use my spirit of observation, and I sense three people, and they got night vision goggles. And one crosses the river, I can hear it, and it's like stirring in the brush. And I'm like, well, it could be a deer, or it could be, one of these three people with night vision goggles. It would be two guys and a woman. So I make my best estimate as to where it is, and I try to run after it and catch it, but it runs away. So whatever, it has to be a deer or someone agile with night vision goggles. In either case, I decided to go back home. I was a little spooked out. And so I go back, and in the morning, I go out to play my flute in the day. And as I get to the river and make my left, there's three people standing there. And it's two guys and a woman. And they were dressed a little bit, I guess, like as if they're from Europe and they're kind of spies. I mean, just to say it at that point. They were dressed like, sophisticated, wealthy. And what were they doing standing huddled in the brush on the other side of the river? Not really on a trail. But as I'm passing them, I'm they're on my right because I made a left, and there, the guy blows a duck call. So to me, signals me that, oh, that's what I heard the night before. It's these three people. Okay, back to the Men in Black. So anyway, I deal with my father. He kind of blows me off for a couple months. He kicked me out of his house because he was blowing me off for like a month. My brother and my sister were very treacherous towards me. I mean, it was like, just imagine staying in a home where they were like kind of like so emotionally abusive your whole life, and here I'm just stranded without any money, and he's just blowing me off like, like, yo, hook me up. I can't sit here and be abused by these people, night and day. Like the thing was like the third cigarette I had bummed off my brother and sister was like the end of the line. That's cut off because like you can bum someone one cigarette, and then maybe you can go too deep, but 3 deep is like too far, and that's like so like what is going on with this family? But anyway, so they were not giving me any personal space. I wasn't allowed to sleep. I'm like sitting there in the basement, and there's like a television, and that's where they want to watch their television, where it's like I'm like sleeping, and like, oh yeah, wake up, we're watching television. I'm like, don't, you got places to do that, can't you just, no. And it was just like an abusive, like a machine violence. I'll put it that way. It's a machine violence that was like, come on, I can't even sleep. And my father had, in my understanding, broken his agreement, and I was upset and about arguing with him, and so I had left that situation, and then I go over to Virginia for whatever, because I had no other place to go, and I'm there in Charlottesville, and luckily I get a good job right off the bat, and my apartment sucked. It was up on this dangerous road, and I had to bike to work and bike to the city to do anything, and my landlord was a complete creep, going through my stuff. There's a lot of like other little bullshits, because it's a machine world with all this kind of evil in it. But I go down to town, and I want to fraternize and meet some people, because it's just work all day, and the people at work weren't that interesting, and I want to try to make some contacts. Someone was supposed to come move up into where I was at, but he broke his word. We were supposed to start a band and all. That was the plan, to start a band. But he was changed his mind. But anyway, so I want to meet some people and fraternize and go around to the little pubs and whatnot. and I'm drinking a little bit, and then it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna drive home because the road's so dangerous. It's dark already, and I'm like, this is a dangerous road. You can't ride on a bicycle. People are getting hit every like month. So I decide to, hit my boy up if I could just crash at his place for a night, which I did, often. And they had gotten to a fight. He had two roommates. They got into a fight. So he's like, oh no, tonight's not a good night. Oh, that sucks. So then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna, go back to home on the road. It's too dangerous. So I'm just gonna crash out. It was like on a train tracks. They had like a little utility box. I'm like, oh, it's open. I went in there, like, I'm gonna crash here. And it was actually cold and stuff. It was too cold. I didn't have any, blanket or anything. I just like crashed for the night. Like, oh, fuck, it's cold. I didn't realize how cold it was. But anyway, something, while I was sleeping, in my dream or whatever, I get apprehended. And it's like two guys, and I immediately get like sedated, or they jab me with some tranquilizer. And then it's like, it was quick. I got into a scuffle, and they tranquilized me. And then I wake up, I hear the door slam, and I hear people walking away on the gravel, because this is on the train tracks. And I hear, the sun's up already, and I hear them, he won't remember a thing. That's what they said. And I had also distinctly remembered that they put this like tracker underneath my right toe, under the nail. And I'm like, that was in the dream, and I'm like, it hurts. And it's still to this day, to this very minute, it's sensitive. I can feel it. It's just like a pain. What that is, I don't know, but that's the moment that it had happened. And like I said, that's Men in Black. That's the Men in Black phenomena, because what those two people were, I don't know. But the thing is, like, when you think about like tracking people in a synthetic world, you have like a DNA receptor of like where you're emanating from, and that tracker is based on that. So these are fallen angels, or you can call them angels. But when Paul says that angels will be judged, I think that you can say any angels is falling under this category. There are no other angels. They're defending their Elysian realm, and that's the Men in Black phenomena, as far as I can tell.